it's Alyssa. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing 4 super easy and delicious no-bake holiday treats with you. So if you're looking for treats that come together quickly, don't require a lot of ingredients, and are delicious, these are perfect. You can make these on your own if you're looking for some treats to make with your kids or grandkids or for a gathering. These are perfect and they're so good, so I can't wait to share them with you. So with all that said, let's go get started. So the first recipe I'm going to start off with is so easy, comes together so quickly, they're so cute, and this is all you're going to need, just a handful of ingredients, and it's going to be cornflake wreaths. These are adorable, everybody always loves them, and they're delicious. So here's everything you're going to need. So you're going to need a box of cornflakes, you're going to need a bag of mini marshmallows, a stick of butter, some green food coloring, and then you're going to need some little red candies. You can do mini red M&Ms. I have these sprinkles in my cupboard. They're Christmas sprinkles, and there's some big red pieces in there that I can use on my wreaths for that. So I'm gonna make it a little bit of a cheating way. This way is so easy when you have to melt marshmallows. If you wanna do it on your stovetop, you definitely can in a large pot. I'm going to do it in my microwave. I'm going to be using a microwavable safe bowl, one of my largest ones, and I'm hoping it's going to all fit in here. I'm going to put my marshmallows and my butter in here, and I'm going to melt it in my microwave. Start off about at 1 minute, and then I'm going to do 30-second increments after that, stirring in between each of those. I also have 2 cookie sheets back here lined with parchment paper, and that's what I'm going to be putting my wreaths on. So I'm going to be getting a full bag of marshmallows. You don't have to do this whole recipe. You can split it in half if you want, but what's great with these is you can freeze them. I mean, I have before. It's totally up to you, but I found that they still taste just as good when they defrost, and then I make them in advance, well in advance before Christmas, and then I take them out of the freezer, let them defrost, and then this is kind of what I divvy off to our neighbors and get-togethers and all of that with everything else that I make. So I have my bowl of mini marshmallows here, and now I'm just going to add in 1 stick of butter. You want to try to use unsalted if you can, but I don't think it's too big of a deal. I've had it both ways and it tastes just as good both ways. And now I'm going to get this into my microwave. I'm going to start at 1 minute like I said, and then stir it and then put it in for 30 seconds until everything is completely melted down. So I'll come back once it's all done. So I got my butter and my marshmallows completely melted. It took about 2.5 minutes or so. So my next step, I'm going to add in some green food coloring. So you just want to add in a couple drops at a time. I don't know, more than a couple drops because there's quite a bit here, until you get it to the color you're looking for. Okay, so my next step, now that I got the color that I want with my marshmallows, is measuring out 5 cups of cornflakes. So I have a 4-cup measuring cup here. I'm gonna start with that. And then I'm just gonna do 1 more. Now that my 5 cups of cornflakes is added into the marshmallows, I'm just going to mix everything up carefully. I'm going to kind of just fold it in. So I got that all mixed up. I just have my cookie scoop here. I'm just going to use that to measure out my wreaths. And then I just have my pan here ready to go. So this is gonna get a little messy because you have to use your hands obviously to form the wreaths. So what I'm gonna use is just some Pam. I'm gonna spray my hands. If you don't have any cooking spray, you could also just kind of get a little bit of water on your hands and rub them together and then form them that way. So I'm just gonna spray my hands. Okay, so I got my hands sprayed. I'm just gonna do a big scoop. I'm measuring more than the cookie scoop because I'm just using that to kind of help release it from the spoon. And then I'm just gonna form them into a ball. Kind of push them down. And then you're going to flatten it out with the palm of your hands. Like this. And then once it's kind of flattened out to the size you want, you're just gonna take your finger and kind of form your circle while pressing in. And then you're gonna have to reshape them once you set them down. So they will kind of break apart as you're trying to form the wreaths, but you just push them together, and then once they set up, they'll stick together. Okay, so I'm just going to get the rest of these all onto my pans, and then I'm going to add on the candies once I'm done.
Christmas is the time to set your mind and spirit free. Everybody smile while we decorate the tree. If I could, I wish for you to spend Christmas here with me. Tell me, can you feel it? There is love and in the air. No more feeling lonely or in despair. We give out the presents, they keep coming.
So also what makes these so great is that they're super inexpensive. I mean, they're adorable, they're delicious, and they're so cheap to make. So I think I got everything for just about $10 to make this. I got most of my items at Walmart. I had a lot of the items already on hand, but if you had to get those too, it wouldn't be very much money. I would say just around $10 to get everything. And they're so adorable and they're delicious. They're perfect type of treat if you want to pass them out to your neighbors and not spend a ton of money. Okay, so I got all of these put together, and now I'm just going to add my red candies. So I'm just gonna take 3 total for each and just kind of place them like so. And look at that.
Back for more. No one should be sad or left alone. Nothing matters more than being here with you. I give up all I have to show you.
One thing I really want to recommend, and I forget it every year, is you want to put the candies on. After you finish one pan, put the candies on and then move on and make the rest of the wreaths on the other pan and then put the candies on, because they do start to set up and it gets a little bit harder to get those candies to stick. I got them on there, but you kind of have to like push them down in there. I always forget that every year. So that's definitely one of my recommendations when you're making these. So I got all of the candies on. These are done. They just need to set up in the fridge for about 20 to 30 minutes. I'm gonna get these in the fridge and then get started on my next treat.
My love is true.
So my wreath has set up in the fridge. I'm gonna leave a few out for my family, and then I'm gonna pop the rest of these into a Ziploc bag into my freezer. But look how cute those turned out. These are perfect to go alongside a few other treats that I'm gonna be putting together for our neighbors. So the next recipe I have to share with you is so easy, also only requires a handful of ingredients. This is everything you're going to need, and it's sugar cookie dough Christmas dip mix. It's so good. You can pair it with some cookies, which I'm going to do. I just have mini Nilla wafers here, and then some graham cracker cookies. You can also pair it with some pretzels and do a little bit of that sweet and salty to go with it. This is perfect for any type of gathering, a party, if you have some kids that you want to give them a special treat when they get home from school, a Christmas themed one. This is perfect. It comes together so quickly and it's so fun. So everything you're going to need is right here. You're just going to need a box of some sugar cookie mix. I just got the generic brand from Walmart, super cheap. You're going to need some heavy whipping cream, and then you also need some softened cream cheese. I just have a box of the 8-ounce one here. And then you are going to use some fun decor in the dip. So I have some red and green M&Ms, and then I also have some Christmas sprinkles that I'm going to be putting in there as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just get everything into this bowl, and then we're gonna mix it up with our mixer. So I'm just adding in, like I said, a 8-ounce box of softened cream cheese into this bowl. You're also going to add in 2 tablespoons of your heavy whipping cream. And then you're going to do a cup of your sugar cookie mix. Okay, so now that everything is added into the bowl, we're going to mix this with our handheld mixer. Okay, so we're gonna mix this until it's light and fluffy, so about 2 to 3 minutes with the handheld mixer.
That my love is true.
Okay, so I mixed that for about 2 to 3 minutes. I want to point out in the beginning, it looks like it's not going to come together. Just keep mixing it with your mixer and I promise you it will get light and fluffy and start kind of incorporating. So now that that's done, I'm going to add in my sprinkles and M&Ms. Okay, so I just got my rubber spatula right here and now I'm just going to add in my sprinkles and M&Ms. So you want roughly a half a cup of sprinkles and M&Ms together, give or take. It's kind of up to you on how much you want to put into it. I'm going to start with my already opened sprinkles. And I'm also going to add in some M&Ms. And then I'm just going to gently fold this all in.
Time to leave your ego out the door. Everybody smiling while we dance around the floor. If I could, I wish for you.
Okay, so I'm going to now transfer this into a different bowl and get it on like a platter with some of my cookies. And then I'm going to top it with a little bit more sprinkles and some M&Ms before I dish this up and serve it to my kids. Okay, so this treat is all done. This is perfect for any gathering, any get together. If you want to even put it out with some of your desserts on Christmas Eve. It's so fun and festive with all of the bright colors and the sprinkles. And it pairs perfectly with the cookies and you can put some fruit like I did here. So I just have vanilla wafers. I cut up some apple and then I did some graham cracker. You can pair it with, like I said, the pretzels if you want the sweet and salty. It's delicious and so fun and kids love it.
Christmas here, and Christmas is the time to set your mind and spirit free. Everybody smiling while we decorate the tree. If I could, I wish for you.
Hey guys, so it's the next day. I'm going to be making some of the Christmas treats today as well. So the first one I'm going to be starting with today is Buckeyes or peanut butter balls. These are so easy. They only require a handful of ingredients right here in front of me. So here's everything I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using creamy peanut butter. You can do creamy, you can do crunchy, you can do a mixture of creamy and crunchy together. And then I'm going to be putting some butter into it and then of course powdered sugar. And then I'm also going to add in some vanilla. I'm going to be dipping them into chocolate. So I have some chocolate almond bark here that I'm going to be melting down. And then I'm going to try something a little bit different because I want to add some Christmas sprinkles on mine. So I got these styrofoam blocks for really inexpensive from Walmart. And I'm just going to stick the toothpick once I dip them in chocolate into this and then sprinkle the Christmas sprinkles on top so then they can dry and not have that smushed kind of look to them. Once I put them on the cookie sheet, they always get smushed down so they can dry evenly. And then what's really great with these is that you can freeze these. So these are perfect to let them dry completely and then pop them in the freezer. And then you can pull them out around Christmas time and you can pass them out to your neighbors, your families and friends for some Christmas treats, or put them out for some of your Christmas gatherings, and they're delicious. So let's get started on this recipe. Okay, so I just have a medium-sized bowl here. I've already measured out my peanut butter, so I'm doing 1 cup of the creamy peanut butter into the bowl here. And then I'm going to add in half a cup of softened butter, just 1 stick of butter. I'm cutting this recipe that I'm using in half because I don't need too many. So usually it's 2 sticks of butter, but I'm going to be just using 1. And then I like to put vanilla in mine. So I like this vanilla bean paste that I find at Trader Joe's. I know you can also order something like this on Amazon. So I'm going to just put a splash of this in there. A little bit more, but that's okay. And then I'm just gonna beat this with my handheld mixer until it gets light and fluffy, and then I'm gonna add in my powdered sugar. now that I got my butter and peanut butter with vanilla all whipped up and fluffy, I'm gonna add in 2 cups of powdered sugar, and I'm gonna sift it per cup at each time. So I'm gonna add 1 cup in right now, and then sift it, and then add in my last cup.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town.
Okay, so I got 2 cups of powdered sugar sifted into the bowl. Now I'm just gonna get my mixer in there, but I'm gonna start it on low because all of that powdered sugar will make a mess if you put it up too high, trust me. So let's get that going.
Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the...
Okay, so now that everything is incorporated, I'm going to scoop these into balls. So you want about 1-inch balls. So I'm gonna use my cookie scoop here. I also have my toothpicks ready because these are gonna have to go into the freezer to firm up before I dip them in chocolate. So I'm gonna stick the toothpicks in them first before I freeze them. So I also want to point out, because I pass these out to neighbors and family friends and all of that for the holidays, I always double check that no one has a peanut allergy before I put these into their little gift boxes that I do. If anybody has a peanut allergy, then I just leave these out so they're not in there, and then make sure I'm not giving anything else to them that has peanuts in it. So I just want to point that out. You want to double check if you're gifting these to anybody that no one has an allergy.
While we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing, just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a night.
Okay, so I got those all rolled out, and now I'm just gonna add a toothpick into each one and then get this into my freezer. Okay, so the Buckeyes or peanut butter balls have been in the freezer for about 30 minutes. I've melted down my chocolate in the microwave, and now I'm just gonna dip it and then stick it in my styrofoam and add the sprinkles right on top.
Snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town. Later we meet under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace. As they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Merry Christmas Day. A Merry Christmas Day.
Recipe I have to share with you is actually a Christmas candy that I make, and it's delicious, so easy to make, only requires a handful of ingredients just like everything else, and it's honeycomb. So here's everything you're going to need for this recipe. You're going to need some light corn syrup, you're going to need some baking soda, some water, and some granulated sugar. I like to drizzle chocolate on top of mine. You can dip it in chocolate, whatever you choose. You can also leave it plain without chocolate. So for this recipe, I do recommend the majority of it to be made by an adult. If you're making these with your kids or your grandkids, the kids can help with the chocolate drizzle or dipping of the candy, but the sugar and the corn syrup you have to heat them up quite a bit and they get very, very hot. So that part I do not recommend with kids, of course, but it is very easy. I do recommend also using a candy thermometer when you're going to be making this. So we're going to move over to my stovetop to get this going. Okay, so I moved over to my stovetop, and I just want to point out before I get started with anything, I always make sure to get my pan, which this is an 8x8 pan, and I cover it with parchment paper. I did spray it with vegetable spray, and I just put the parchment paper down so it would stick. And I also measured out my baking soda, because once everything comes to temperature in the pot, it goes quickly. You need to move fast and dump in your baking soda and get it foaming up, and it's gonna foam up and kind of thicken and kind of grow. So you wanna use a good sized saucepan. I'm just using this one right here. And then you're going to dump it in here once you add in your baking soda. So just get everything in order before you get started. Okay, so in my saucepan here, I have 1 cup of granulated sugar, a 1/3 cup of light corn syrup, and then I'm gonna add in a 1/3 cup of water. I'm gonna get it on medium heat. You wanna make sure also that when this is heating up, you do not increase the heat of your burner to try to melt down your sugar to make it go faster. You wanna keep it at medium heat and just stir it until it completely melts down, and then you're gonna let it sit and come to temperature, and that's the point you will add in your candy thermometer.
Merry Christmas Day.
Okay, so our mixture has come to a boil, so I'm gonna remove the spoon. At this point, I'm gonna add in my candy thermometer and attach it, and it needs to reach 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And you wanna watch this. You do not wanna stir it though, and you wanna make sure that once it hits 300, you remove it from the heat. You don't want it to go past that because it will ruin the candy. And I also want to point out that this type of candy thermometer I'm using attaches to the pan, so it doesn't touch the bottom of the pan. But if you have one that is touching the bottom of the pan, you want to make sure to prop it up a little bit so it sits in the liquid and it's not touching the bottom, because then it will read higher than what it really is. Okay, so my mixture has reached 300 degrees, so I'm going to remove it from the heat carefully and move it over to my countertop, and then I'm going to add in my baking soda. So let's go over there. All right, so now I'm gonna add in the baking soda. I'm gonna mix up the baking soda until it's fully incorporated, but don't over mix it at this point. You wanna keep all those air bubbles in there so you can make honeycomb. The air bubbles is what makes it. All right, so I've incorporated the baking soda, and now I'm gonna dump this into my pan.
Oh, yeah. Carolers are singing outside our door. Lovely.
I don't recommend at this point to use a rubber spatula to smooth it out into the pan if it doesn't get into the corners. I would wiggle it into place if you can. If you use a rubber spatula, it'll just pull at the honeycomb, and then it will ruin the look of it. So just kind of wiggle it if you want. Mine kind of filled it up perfectly. So I'm just gonna set this off on the side, and it needs to sit for 1 hour before I add the chocolate. So the honeycomb has hardened up, and now I'm just gonna remove it and break it.
We all heard before. As we walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Yeah. A Merry Christmas Day. Oh, dance around the
guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you make any of these treats, please let me know down below what you thought of them, how they turned out. If you're new here, I would love to have you, so make sure to subscribe down below, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.